What's up, guys? Thank you again for joining me for bobK0T0R's Gaming News. Today, the Xbox One finally gets a release date, Sony brings us the PlayStation Vita TV, and Nintendo introduces the Pokemon Bank. So for my first story of the day, Microsoft's Yusuf Mehdi has finally announced that the Xbox One release date will be on November the 22nd, which is exactly 1 week after the PlayStation 4's November 15th release date. Now, the Xbox One will be launching in 13 different markets. Don't mind me as I read from the screen here to tell you which ones they are. Australia, Austria, Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Mexico, New Zealand, Spain, the UK, and the United States of America. Now, all because the Xbox One finally has a release date that's pretty much right around the corner, don't believe that Microsoft's going to drop service completely for the 360. As they have announced, they will be still pumping out over 100 games over the next few years up until 2016. Now, they did also say that Xbox One itself might eventually have backwards compatibility through its Azure cloud system, but no specific details were given and no real specific confirmation either. So for my second story of the day, Sony announces what's called the PlayStation Vita TV. And no, it's not a TV devoted entirely to the PlayStation Vita. It's actually a tiny little attachment for your TV that can actually plug in Vita games and play them. So no, you will not need a PlayStation Vita to play PlayStation Vita games anymore, which is a very interesting proposition considering Sony's handheld is not exactly doing that well. Perhaps maybe they're trying to bridge the gap with console owners to play Vita games and get more sales. Who knows? But it is a pretty cool piece of equipment, as you can remote play your PS4 to your PS Vita TV to a separate TV in the house that has the PS Vita TV plugged into it. It can play PS Vita games by injecting it directly into the little console, as well as playing PSP Classic and PS1 Classic games through the PlayStation Network. No announcement on PS2 Classics, which I really hope they do, because this will definitely answer my prayers as far as getting the PS1 and PS2 Classic games from your PS3 and PSPs over to your PlayStation 4, which even if they can't play on the PlayStation 4 itself, at least you'll still have a home piece of hardware that can play them. That's my hope, though. No announcement if this is even coming to America, but the trailer's in English, so I'm going to safely assume it's going to. We're just going to have to give Sony a little bit more time. And for my last piece of news, the Nintendo Direct Conference, which had taken place on September the 4th, subtitled as the Pokemon Direct Conference, dropped two huge pieces of information for the Pokemon franchise as a whole. The first one in particular being the Pokemon Bank. Now, with the Pokemon Bank, you're going to be able to take your Pokemon from Pokemon Black, Black 2, White, and White 2, and transfer them into the Pokemon Bank, and then out of the Pokemon Bank into X and Y. Now, the reason they're doing this is because the DS games are not compatible with transferring data over to the new 3DS game. Similar to how the games like Gold, Silver, and Crystal, way back on the original Game Boy Color, were unable to transfer their data to the Game Boy Advance versions of Ruby and Sapphire. Now, this is a great answer, in my opinion, for this issue, because it introduces cloud servers for transferring your Pokemon that you spent years and years working on, and now you never have to give them up again. Now, the only downside to Pokemon Bank, if there was to be one, would be the fact that it does come with a yearly cost of $5 a year. Now, mind you, this is a really, really minimal cost, but they do say they do need it as for maintenance on the servers, updates, that kind of thing, which I can understand, especially considering there's going to be so many people using it to transfer all of their Pokemon over. Now, I just can't help but feel it might not exactly be necessary, considering Pokemon data isn't exactly very large, but regardless, it's a very minimal amount, so I'm not really going to care too much. The only thing they haven't said is what happens when you stop paying. Now, hopefully you don't lose all your Pokemon if you do, because that would be terrible. Hopefully it's more like Sony's cloud system with the PlayStation Plus, where if you stop paying, they're still in the cloud, you just can't add anything more to the cloud, and most likely won't be able to take anything out of the cloud. But we'll have to wait and see, as Nintendo has not said anything as of yet. The other piece of news that they did drop, though, was that unlike any other Pokemon game pretty much ever, you'll be getting more than one starting Pokemon. Now, you'll be getting the originally announced Pokemons of Chespin, Fennekin, or Froakie right at the start of the game from a separate character, not the professor that you normally would. But instead, when you finally do get to the professor, they'll be giving you either Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle, one of the original 3 Pokemon from Pokemon Red and Blue. So I am super excited about this. Originally, I was going to get Froakie, and now that they've added in the original three, I have to get Squirtle. So I don't know if I want dual water types, but I'll have to decide that when I play the game. But the biggest announcement from that they said was that Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur will all be getting Mega Evolutions, as we've been seeing more of those come out over the past few weeks as well. I'll be linking the Nintendo Direct conference down below so you can check out the full conference. It's about 20 minutes long, but you can probably jump around and find the Mega Evolution screenshots for all three of them, and they look wonderful. And that's all the stories I got for you this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be linking a lot of the official videos for what I was talking about today down in the description below, but I'll also be sending a link to the Kickstarter for the Mighty Number 9. For those of you who haven't heard about it, Keiji Inafune, one of the original masterminds behind the Mega Man franchise, has started up his own Kickstarter with a basically Japanese all-star gaming development team to create the absolute spiritual successor to Mega Man. And originally, they'd only asked for $900,000 to complete the game, which is still a pretty steep Kickstarter. But as of this very moment, let me just check here, they are at $2,222,476. They've destroyed $900,000, and they're still climbing. Now, I know when I get paid, I'm probably just going to drop $20 towards it so I can get a free digital copy of the game when it comes out. And my $20 goes towards helping them complete the actual game in development. So why not throw the money at it? It looks amazing. They have a full video explaining what they're doing with the game, why they're doing it. They have screenshots and concept art all over the place, and rewards for days depending on how much money you put on there. So definitely take a look at that. But thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you next time.